This is KVUE News Daybreak.
Opposition to the Iran nuclear deal growing this daybreak.
Never, ever, ever in my life have I seen any transaction so incompetently negotiated.
Republican rivals taking center stage on Capitol Hill to rally against the controversial agreement.
This Iranian nuclear deal is catastrophic.
The growing debate over the historic pact ahead of a major vote in Congress.
Very good morning to you. Thank you for watching KVUE News Daybreak at 4:30. I'm Corey Coffin.
And I'm Brian Mace. We'll get to the Iran nuclear deal in just a bit, but first our Daybreak top three to get you going this Thursday morning. Austin City Council gives its final approval to the city's new budget today to the tune of $3.5 billion, where your tax dollars are going and how much change you can see in your property tax bill.
And a new development this daybreak in the case against a former Austin police officer accused of murder. The charge prosecutors are now dropping against Vontre Clark.
And a salmonella outbreak linked to cucumbers has turned deadly here in Texas. The growing number of sick and fatal cases tied to the tainted produce. We'll have everything you need to know about all these stories and many, many more here on Daybreak this morning. Let's turn now to the forecast. A busy Wednesday as far as it goes when the rain is out, and the rain will be back today, right, Lene?
Yeah, that's right, Brian. Now, max storm radar, pretty quiet. You're seeing a lot of green here, but that's actually just the radar sort of picking up the ground clutter. It's not actual precipitation. Though, when you step outside, it'll feel like there's lots of humidity on you, but just no rain. Now, there was some pretty heavy rainfall in parts of Pflugerville last night. Some reports of up to 3 to 5 inches fell just with one storm that just sat and poured and poured and poured last night. Other areas picked up anywhere from 2 inches in Round Rock and Georgetown, just south of Georgetown, to a little bit less if you headed further south in Austin. So it really depended on where you were yesterday, if you got rain or not. Llano actually picking up anywhere between 1/4 of an inch up to an inch in some spots. Now for us this morning, another very warm and humid start to the morning. We're still waiting for that cooler air to arrive. It's going to take a couple days to get here, so don't expect a big cool down today. In fact, the outlook for today still has temperatures warming up around 90 degrees by this afternoon, and we're going to keep about a 40% chance for scattered showers and occasional thunderstorm in the forecast for today. So basically, Corey and Brian, don't put away the umbrella just yet. Back to you.
Good news, Lene. Thanks a lot. All new this morning, a restaurant in Cedar Park will be closed for the next few days because of an overnight fire. Firefighters called out to the Serrano's restaurant near Lake Line Mall around 11 last night. While crews were able to knock the fire down pretty quickly along the side of the building, the restaurant did suffer some smoke and water damage. No injuries reported. This morning, investigators are still trying to determine if the fire was sparked by an electric neon sign or a lightning strike.
Austin's City Council has some tough decisions to make today as they're set to give final approval to the city's budget for next year. Daybreak's Tina Shively is in the newsroom with a look at some of the proposals they've been considering. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning, Corey. Yeah, the issues there have run the gamut from utility increases to benefits for transgender people. And today, Council will sit down and consider those proposals that are still up in the air. The 1,500-page budget would have originally cost $3.5 billion. It included 347 new jobs, including 8 more code officers, 27 staff members to help with the city's permit backlog, and 48 positions for the new downtown library, as well as a raise for civilian city employees. And one of the most talked about changes are changes to the public safety departments. The police department's chief of staff said APD wants 85 new officers so the ones who patrol can spend more time building relationships in the community. EMS says their need for more crews is especially dire. The department has recently hired 41 people, but they would like to hire more paramedics to help ease the load there. Now, right now, property tax bills around the city are projected to decrease by about $12 a year. But in order to keep it that way, council members may need to revisit some of the items they've already approved. Our partners at the Austin American-Statesman are reporting that council is currently overspending the general fund by roughly $600,000. In the newsroom, Tina Shively, KVUE News Daybreak.
Certainly a difficult one to balance. Thank you, Tina. Developing this daybreak in the case against former Austin police officer Vontre Clark. A federal judge has now dropped a charge against him. If you recall, Clark is accused of killing Samantha Dean and her unborn baby. Investigators believe he was the father of her child. While he still faces a capital murder charge, we have learned that prosecutors will not pursue the second unlawful flight to avoid prosecution charge. Officials confirmed the feds never intended to pursue that case against Clark, but they had to file it to get him back to the United States from Indonesia. Clark's attorney says his client did not flee the country, but instead was seeking medical treatment. Still no word yet on when a first court hearing might happen. This morning, Clark remains in the Bastrop County Jail.
This morning, discussions continue about possible discipline for two John Jay High School football players from San Antonio. Video shows two of the players targeting an official during a game last Friday. You've all seen that. Now, the UIL held emergency hearings Wednesday, but have not decided yet how they're going to punish those two players. A decision on that could come in a couple of weeks. The players currently suspended from school and from the team, of course, along with an assistant coach who's on administrative leave currently. The official seen in the video, Robert Watts, is also under investigation after the players accused him of using a racial slur during that game last Friday night. Now, since that claim, Watts has complained publicly that he's being libeled. Attorney Alan Goldberger, who represents Watts, told ESPN he is, quote, outraged, end quote, about the allegations that he used racial slurs. Goldberger says he's not a happy camper about being falsely accused. Now, there are still plenty of developments to come in this case. Keep it on KVUE and at KVUE.com for updates both on air and online.
Meanwhile, a heartwarming update this morning to a tragic story we brought you last week. A local high school football player seriously injured in a game got some much-needed help this week. Stony Point sophomore Jaysel Favors is still in the hospital this daybreak. He broke his neck a week ago in a junior varsity football game after a hard helmet-to-helmet hit. Wednesday, local Schlonsky's Delis donated 20% of every purchase to the Favors family. Jaysel's brother says he is thankful for the help.
Working is the first thing that I started thinking about when he got hurt, is how I'm going to work and support him. So knowing that they're supportive just like the community and the school, that really helped us get through it.
And Andrew says that his brother is seeing his friends again and will be able to talk soon. A GoFundMe page has been set up for the family and now has raised more than $4,000. We've got a link set up on KVUE.com if you'd like to donate.
A Leander ISD school bus driver now facing charges for driving while intoxicated with child passengers. Kathy LeGrand arrested after crashing the school bus into several mailboxes last October in Steiner Ranch. At the time, the bus had more than 24 River Ridge Elementary School students on board. Kids were calling their parents from the bus, concerned about LeGrand's driving. LeGrand told deputies she took a Xanax and hydrocodone earlier in the day.
A Texas woman is the second person to die from a salmonella outbreak linked to cucumbers. This map that we're about to show you here shows the 30 states with salmonella cases linked to those cucumbers. And so far, salmonella has sickened more than 300 people across the country with 56 new cases in the past 4 days. 18 are in Texas. 2 states are reporting the highest in the country, California with 72 and Arizona with 66. The distributor, Andrew and Williamson Fresh Produce, has issued a voluntary recall. The recalled cucumbers imported from Mexico are sold at H-E-B, Whole Foods, Costco, Walmart, and Sam's Club. You can find a link with more information to KVUE.com.
This morning, it's looking more and more like those against the Iran nuclear deal are fighting a losing battle. President Barack Obama now has enough votes lined up to head off any blockage of that deal. ABC's Karen Travers has more from Washington.
An unusual sight on Capitol Hill. 2 Republican presidential rivals sharing the same stage, rallying against the Iran nuclear agreement. Frontrunner Donald Trump.
I've been doing deals for a long time. That's what I do. Never, ever, ever in my life have I seen any transaction so incompetently negotiated as our deal with Iran.
The businessman was invited by his fellow presidential contender, Senator Ted Cruz.
This Iranian nuclear deal is catastrophic.
Inside the Capitol, lawmakers began debating the deal.
This is probably the biggest foreign policy issue that we're going to deal with during our time here in the United States Senate.
But all that fiery rhetoric may be a waste of time. Enough Senate Democrats have come out in support of the nuclear agreement to block the Republican-backed disapproval measure, a big win for the White House. Hillary Clinton said she supports the agreement as part of a broader strategy for Iran.
Is it perfect? Well, of course not. No agreement like this ever is. But is it a strong agreement? Yes, it is. and we absolutely should not turn it down.
But she stressed that if elected president, to protect the U.S., military action would be an option.
Congress has until September 17th to hold a vote on the nuclear agreement, but the drama is essentially over. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Well, domestic terrorism on a U.S. highway.
What officials are now doing to stop a string of recent shootings targeting unsuspecting drivers.
And many Central Texans are suffering from sticker shock after viewing their August water bills. The possible reason behind it, plus what city leaders are now doing to help residents.
And don't put away those umbrellas just yet. Rain chances staying in the forecast. I'll tell you when it looks like we can finally see some clearing skies. Coming up next.